What is freedom? Freedom is one of the most sought-after ideal in human history. But almost everyone has a different idea of what freedom is. In this video, we are going to talk about freedom and why it may not be what you think it is. It's your unlocked potential, and without further ado, let's get right into it. First, let's talk about freedom's definition. I know, we all know what freedom is. But like I said before, everyone has a different idea of what freedom is. So let's clear that up. The word freedom has two main definitions. The first definition of freedom, as defined by Lexico, is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants. The second definition is the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. Now, these two definitions are fairly similar to each other, and because of this, people might assume that these two definitions are the same, or might mix them up. But this should not be the case. Why is that? Imagine yourself being imprisoned somewhere by someone. You've been kidnapped. You may still have the power or right to speak or act a certain way, like scream or yell or fight them back. On the other hand, imagine if you work for the government and you have top secret information, you're not allowed to talk about it. Someone from work probably monitors you and stops your right to act or speak regarding the top secret info, like Edward Snowden. But you're not physically imprisoned or enslaved, right? You can still go to the grocery store, party, and hang out with your friends. You just can't talk about the confidential information. Of course, if you talk about the information, you'd get in trouble.
FBI, open up!
In fact, you can actually imprison or enslave yourself without being aware of it, but we'll get into that later. What most people may not understand, unfortunately, is that true or absolute freedom is impossible. Why? Because almost everyone is going to think differently and want different things. And because everyone thinks differently, they say and do things differently. There will be conflict. Freedom is more like a circle or domain. Everyone has their own circle or domain that they can do whatever they want within it. However, if your circle of freedom overlaps with someone else's freedom, this may result in a conflict. Let me illustrate this with an example. You have the freedom to play piano. No one has the right to restrict you to play the piano. This is your circle of freedom. But if you were to play the piano at 3 a.m. in the morning very loudly, you can disturb your neighbors or family. Your circle of freedom to play the piano is overlapping with their circle of freedom to sleep peacefully. Freedom is actually more about priority. The more important something is, the more weight it carries compared to other circles or domains of freedom. Your neighbors and parents have the right to sleep, which takes precedence over your right to play the piano. Because of this, you cannot absolutely be free to do anything you want. Since you do not have absolute freedom, you technically have only a degree of freedom. Now, this is not bad per se because you cannot only think about yourself. You have to think about your family, your friends, significant others, colleagues, and the rest of the society. I know that a lot of people are currently staying at home out of their free will, and this is an honorable thing to do. You are indirectly helping the health professionals, the public, and ultimately yourself and your loved ones. Yes, we're giving up our freedom to a certain extent for a short period of time, but without this temporary sacrifice, our freedom will be taken over by the forces of nature. In short, the freedom of the public's health or individual's health within the society takes priority over certain personal freedom. It's not a pleasant feeling, I get it, but we need to see the bigger picture. This applies the same with economy versus public health. For example, would you give me both your arms for $10,000? $100,000? And what about your eyesight? Would you give me your eyesight for $50,000? $500,000? Perhaps not. And this idea shows that you prioritize your health over money. For this same instance, the freedom of the public's health takes priority over the freedom of the economy when both domains or circles of freedom overlap. One of the mottos that many live by is, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you can do whatever you want. While this philosophy is oversimplified and does not encompass some aspects like consent, as a superficial ethics system, it's not too bad. So, you're free to do anything you want within your domain, but is this really freedom? We are actually more tied down than you think. Like I briefly mentioned, you can actually imprison yourself without being aware. Here's what I mean. People may think that it's their freedom to drink as much alcohol as they want, and that is true. But when you drink alcohol excessively and you become addicted to it, you no longer have the freedom to choose. The addiction and the craving of the alcohol are actually controlling you. The same goes for gambling and drug abuse. In this case, would you say the alcoholics or drug addicts are truly free? I would say no. While most people would consider it freedom for them to destroy their own lives or health, they're actually imprisoned or enslaved by these substances and addiction. In fact, you may be even tied down to a job you hate because you're restricted by the need for money. It is especially during these trying times that we should be more supportive and care for each other and for yourself. We should have more empathy and compassion that not everyone has good health like us. Not everyone can afford a proper shelter, food, education, or friends and family amidst this current situation. Think about your priority and keep in mind that your domain of freedom may overlap with someone else's domain of freedom. Lastly, I want to pass the question on to you. Do you agree or disagree? What does freedom mean to you? I look forward to your answers in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all next week Sunday. Cheers! Hey everyone, if you like this video, please like and share this video with all your friends and loved ones, and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to hit the notification button, that way you can get the latest update with the latest content. Someone can even help support you on your journey to obtain your unlocked potential. I want to thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Cheers!